welcome into another edition of the Voice of Camp Nathaniel here on campus of Camp Nathaniel. Makes sense, doesn't it?
It does.
Stephen Bell with you, and with me as always. I'll get it eventually. I promise.
This is Lee Sharp, guys.
How you doing, Lee?
I'm doing good.
That's good.
Sitting across from Stephen Bell here.
Well, you know how it goes.
Hanging out in I guess it's the radio room.
We are officially, at the time this is being released, we are officially in October 1st. Happy October 1st, ladies and gentlemen.
Fall weather is settled in.
We hope. I mean, we're recording this and it's still in summer, so we'll see how that works. But it's getting ready to turn fall.
Feel free to comment on here if we actually got that prediction correct or not.
We'll see how our forecasting turns out.
We are not weathermen.
No, we are not. Hey, man, I'm really excited because we've got a couple of guests in the studio. We're going to get to them here in just a second. But at the time of the recording, we are right smack dab in the middle of our outdoor education program. And that is a program that has been going on for right around, from what I've been told, right around 30 years, somewhere through there. So, and Lee, you're heavily involved with the outdoor education program as well.
I got pulled into some of it, yeah.
You did. I saw you running up and down the field like 7 or 8 times in a day. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it was awesome, man.
Outdoor education turns camp essentially into a field trip destination.
And when we say turns camp into it, there's a transformation that takes place.
It does not just happen overnight. It is a bunch of work. And that's why we've got a couple of people here with us that help volunteer and help make all of that happen, because there's no way that me and Stephen would be able to do all of that. Or even if you got everybody that worked here to do it, it still wouldn't get all put together in time.
Not a chance. Yeah, like Lee said, our outdoor education program, it serves as a great field trip for local classes to come and check out and to learn and be educated and to check out what all camp has to offer as well. Mm-hmm. And we are here today with 2 of the people that make the magic happen. I'm going to put it that way, because outdoor education could not be a thing. It could not get off the ground every single year if it were not for the incredible amount of devoted volunteers that we have coming into the campus to make this thing fly, man. And we have a couple of seasoned veterans with us today. All right, seasoned veterans.
They're nodding their heads.
They are. Welcome, Mike and Judy Boomsma. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
We are doing very good. Thank you.
I was so excited when we were putting the idea together, saying, we should really interview some of our outdoor ed volunteers on the program, and collectively, you guys were like some of the first on that list. All right, so just letting you know. We think highly of you, all right? We do. And you guys are here more than we are.
I feel like crying. Thank you, Steve. I feel like crying.
Hey, I'm not kidding when I say that during outdoor ed, Mike and Judy are here more than we are. They are. They're staying here on campus. They're involved in everything that goes on every single day. So guys, let's start off our little interview here. Again, Mike and Judy Boomsma, you guys let us know, first of all, for our listeners who may not know who you are, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners do know who you are, but give us a little background on you guys, who you are, where you're from, and we'll go from there.
Well, we're Mike and Judy Boomsma. For the last 15 years, we've lived in Northwest Indiana in a small city called Cedar Lake. We have, in our lifetime, experienced many mission trips with youth groups and with adults. Passionate about that. We love to encourage missionaries that are full-time by supporting them and encouraging them and helping them. And it was about 17 years ago we became acquainted with Camp Nathaniel and took a visit and just fell in love with the ministry here. And it was the following year that we actually jumped into outdoor ed, and I mean jumped in. We love it. We love it.
They've been treading in the deep end ever since, man.
The ministry to the community, the hospitality here is overwhelming to begin with. There's Southern hospitality that just overwhelms the volunteers, or the full-time staff, I should say. And we look forward to being here. Whatever the topic is for that year, whatever the purpose is, we're there to help out.
Yeah, and Mike and Judy are no strangers to camp outside of outdoor ed either. You guys are down here helping with all kinds of stuff whenever you can.
We try to do that. We're retired now the last 5 years, so that's given us more time to be down here.
Absolutely, but you guys have a lot to to add to talk about as it relates strictly to our outdoor ed program because of your history with it. So let's talk now. So tell me about that initial exposure to camp that you guys had and how that came about.
It was 16 years ago, and the first program that I came for outdoor ed was Trees Are Terrific, and
Which just happens to be the program we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
and I had wanted to see once what it was. I came down for a week, and I wanted to stay for a second week because we just saw how well it was an oiled machine to get the kids to come here for a field trip.
And Rick and Kathy Franklin have done just an incredible job over the years, making sure it is very much that, a well-oiled machine. It's pretty incredible if you've never experienced outdoor ed before, what all goes into that. Now, how did you guys first hear about Camp Nathaniel?
It's kind of long, and Mike is going to he's going to give a shortened version.
Nice
of
handoff
it.
there. I like
Gesturing
that.
to each other now.
We were involved in a church where we had led mission trips, and we had led one to the border town of Reynosa, Mexico. And there was a woman that went with who just became passionate about serving that community. And she belonged to a congregation. She wasn't from our church, but she did join us on this trip. And she was from a congregation that was supportive of Camp Nathaniel. And so after our trip to Mexico, Vicki Heisingay is her name, contacted us when she was down here. She took a second mission trip in her life down here and said, you got to come down here and check this out. Just the passionate people that are here, the hospitality. I used that word before, but there is a hospitality here that we don't see in northern Indiana. Sorry to you people out there listening from northern Indiana.
We love
Sorry,
you
guys.
We love you, Northern Indiana.
but there
You're
is.
welcome to come visit.
Yes.
And so, and when we arrived down here for a long weekend, Vicki was just so ecstatic. We did meet with the director here who gave us a tour of the facility, and we just fell in love with what was going on here.
Yeah.
We just recognized what an opportunity to be servants of God and be accepted in what you're doing, working with others who are just as passionate and leading us as we do that task. So.
Great, fantastic, and you guys were down. This isn't part of the wasn't part of really the discussion that we're going to talk about today. But I said you guys have come down at numerous times other than outdoor ed. But you guys were heavily involved in the recovery process from the flooding just in the past year.
Correct. Yes.
So that I don't know, kind of what went through your mind when. I'm assuming you saw the pictures of the campus and everything that was going on at the time.
We did. We saw the video of Feindman underwater, and then we saw pictures of the open field underwater up to the dining hall. And so anyway, we decided that we would come down right away and made sure we just said we needed to help.
Yeah, and it was incredibly appreciated, and like I said, stuff that happens here at camp. A lot happens because of our full-time staff, but we want to make sure that anybody who sets foot on this campus, who comes to volunteer their time and the gifts that God has given them, we want to make sure you guys know how much you are appreciated and how much literally this could not happen without you guys, and so. Unless no one has told you lately.
Oh, lots
thank
of people. We've been thanked.
We've been thanked. You're thanking us. We've been thanked by other staff members here. But I'll tell you a little story about what happened today is that I was working. Our topic is Trees Are Terrific. And I was taking a group on a nature hike to look at trees along our creek, a troublesome creek here. I had fourth graders. And when we wrapped it up, a fourth grade girl came up to me and gave me a side hug and said, thank you. Well, that kind of brought on the tears. And then there was a young boy, a fourth grader, who he and I had talked quite a bit he would ask questions. He's very interactive.
Yeah.
But he gave me a man's handshake, said, thank you, Mr. Mike. And we're here to serve the Lord. But it's those things, too, that just mean a lot. But, just getting a hug. And I think if it was appropriate, she probably would have given me a bigger hug. But,
Right.
it was a side hug. And it was very touching. As now in my voice, you might be able to detect that. So.
Well, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Now let's talk a little bit about if you're listening and you're unfamiliar with how outdoor ed works. Like we said, it starts roughly about 9:00 in the morning. We're out there waiting for kids to show up. Buses roll into campus, and again, they're here for a field trip. It's really a field day. They're here pretty much their entire day. They eat lunch here on campus, and then they'll have a morning hike in regards to this program in particular, and then there will be an evening, or rather an afternoon hike that they will go on, and then they'll head back to their schools in time to in time to end for the day. We've got outside groups that come in. It's not necessarily our public schools that come in for it, but we even have homeschoolers that come in for it. We have different organizations with kids that will come in for it. So it's a great opportunity to, like we said, find out what's going on here on campus, but to be educated. And so that leads me to this. We're talking about this program being Trees Are Terrific. And you know, I myself and Lee, we've only been here going on 2 full years now that we've been here as part of the mission. We've been familiar with the mission. Lee kind of married into the mission.
I did.
So you guys, even though I was born and raised in this area, I've always been familiar with Camp Nathaniel, but you guys have been hands-on with camp a lot longer than I have even. And so with outdoor ed, as extensive of a program this is, and right now we're going through, as we said, Trees Are Terrific, where they learn all about trees, how wood is used, and how that has been used throughout history. What would you guys say, and you can give us examples of the other programs, what has been your favorite outdoor ed program? Because these happen in a 6-year rotation. There are 6 programs altogether, and so every year we filter through and go through it there. So what would you guys say?
I would say that Pioneer Living is my favorite.
Now, Pioneer was the one we did last year, kind of a condensed version of.
Correct. Yes.
I got to use a pitchfork and shovel hay for 2 weeks. I loved it. It was awesome. So Pioneer Living is your favorite. Why so?
I really enjoyed that part of history, and then to live it, although it was more difficult. But I did enjoy learning how to make butter and to have gritty bread and what they ate and how they kept milk cold. So, yeah, it was just a different era in which to live, and I enjoyed that.
I'll throw this out here too, Lee. Judy is responsible for making a lot of the costumes that we use here during outdoor ed as well. So just throwing
because
that out
during
there
Pioneer Days, everyone is dressed like it's the 1800s.
That's right. There's a lot of suspenders during Pioneer Days.
Everyone. Like they're full times. They're volunteers.
That's right.
My kids are running around. Yep. Your kids are running around dressed in 1800s appropriate clothing. My
boys last year got to teach a bunch of school kids how to play pickup sticks, and prior to this they had no knowledge, but now they do, and even marbles. You know, playing marbles.
Right.
Most kids have no idea how you play marbles. You know,
Right.
And so just to be able to. In a situation like Pioneer Days, you're reminding kids nowadays, like, you know, there used to be something you did that didn't involve a screen, and so a lot of it was outside and play like this, and it's just carefree and so much fun. It really, really was.
And that's if you're curious on what outdoor ed and what's the idea behind it, that's part of the purpose there is to get kids to just slow down enough and look at the amazing world that is around them all the history and different things that have happened and go, there's some really cool stuff to learn about that you might not realize. And being able to do that hands-on here at camp, it helps them get a little bit more hands-on with it.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, let's go to you. What of the 6, what is your favorite? And then after we get his favorite, do you guys know? I'm assuming you know what all 6 are. We didn't prep you for this before we got started. Think about that for a second. Mike, let's find out what your favorite is first.
I guess I'm going to say Pioneer Living also, only because we're talking about it, and I'm just remembering certain situations. And I do remember 2 past Pioneer sequences that we've been through that I've been involved with. The first one was farming, as they did in Pioneer Living, and the interaction with the kids, because we'd help them direct the plow when we're plowing,
Mm-hmm.
and helped us succeed and actually go through that actual interaction as if this is how they did it back then, which is how they did it.
Right.
And then also we've been able to ask, well, okay, where do we run the garden hose from in Pioneer Living? And the kids start thinking, wait a minute, there's no garden hoses in the 1800s. And so you get to talk about, well, we know the rain comes from the sky, and who blesses us with that rain is our Heavenly Father. So we could talk about that openly,
Yeah.
but it was just common sense. It's like, how did you get rain?
That's
How,
right.
or how did you get the field watered?
Mhm.
You know? But then also, this past time with Pioneer Living, I was involved with Eddie Campbell, who was or is a blacksmith by hobby, and got to work with him. And I learned a lot, and it was fun to teach the kids how, the pioneers depended on the blacksmith to make all those nails, or oftentimes even
just
the
making
women.
nails, man. And just in that, because I observed Eddie doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Last time around, it was it's just astonishing just to see how. Well, I'll say this because it goes back to what you just said about Eddie. Eddie does blacksmith as a hobby, right? Yeah. So and Eddie's one of our volunteers who is here all the time. And so God brings these people with so many different backgrounds, whether they be from Indiana or Kentucky or wherever, and they bring them all here so that they can all use the gifts that God has given them to put together just an incredible program here like outdoor education. And so do we think we've got what the 6 programs are? We know trees are terrific, and we know Pioneer Living.
Weather and climate around the world.
Okay.
And so we talk about weather in Barrow, Alaska, the deserts in Africa. It's a small world. It's about all little creatures that are.
I've got a song stuck in my head, and I don't think that's it.
Copyright says we can't sing that.
Copyright says we can't sing that. So just kidding.
That's all I can remember.
I've
right
put her
now.
on the spot. I didn't tell her I was going to do that ahead of
It'll
time.
come. I'm trying to remember what the closets are.
What is the topic with the scientific method?
Scientific
yes, the
method.
scientific method.
We do
That's
the
right.
scientific method, and then there is another. They do that in the morning, and then in the afternoon, they go and see coal mining, and they do
Awesome.
that part of that program. And I can't think of the other ones, but that's enough.
That's
to remember.
It's funny that
Listen, absolutely. Man, we are, it really is incredible knowing that every single year kids come through here, and a lot of times the same kids come through, they get experience all 6 of these programs. And it's always, last year was different because of the flooding. We had to shift things around a little bit. But this is our first time back, our first time back full time since before the flood. And man, God is continuing to bless this ministry, and it is just a fantastic way to educate people, to show them what God has created, and allow them to take joy in that. And so let's talk just for a few minutes here. We got a couple of minutes left before we kind of close out and head on. We're going to talk about some more things coming up in the mission here as far as programming goes, with some more guests that we'll bring in. Mike and Judy, if you guys, because at one time you guys came here for the first time, you got plugged in to camp. Obviously, outdoor ed became just a huge passion for you guys. From a volunteer's perspective, it's one thing for us as full-time staff to get on here and try to recruit people to come and help out. As a volunteer, why should people who are listening to this, who maybe they're retired, maybe they're looking for areas to come in and serve, maybe they're thinking, at this point, at this stage of my life, maybe God's opened up these doors for me to come in and take part. Why should people, regardless of where they are in life right now, as far as age, why should they come and serve as part of outdoor ed?
Well, I'm going to reverse that question and say, why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they? This is an easy opportunity to serve the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily have to have specific gifts to be of use here.
That's right.
Judy and I, we recognize our gift, that one of the spiritual gifts the Lord's given us is hospitality.
Mm.
Now, I recognize that when we come here, that it's very hospitable, but that's also our gift. And so we use that gift when the students and the teachers come in to welcome them. That's our forte.
Yeah.
That's how God's wired us. So I may have worked with Eddie Campbell, who's a blacksmith by trade. I am not a blacksmith, but I can make the students that came in welcomed and help him teach through the class and help him I could be his Vanna White and help him display what is made.
You are his Vanna White to his Pat Sajak. Yes.
I don't look as good as Vanna White, but that you just with a willingness just to serve, and we come because we want to bless the kids and encourage the full-time staff here. But this is our calling. This is you're called to serve others. And you don't come with a fear. You may come with questions because it's the first time event if you come down, but don't come down with a fear. Just jump on the bandwagon.
And you make lifetime friends.
Oh yeah,
that too.
Absolutely. We've gotten to know different folks from different areas of the states, and we relish those friendships and. That would be what I would take away. You get new friends and you get a new perspective of another part of the country.
Absolutely.
I want to back up a little bit too. You mentioned being retired. Now we've been retired for 5 years, but we've been coming down here for 16, 17.
Oh yeah, you were back here before before you retired.
We looked forward to this as a vacation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a vacation, per se, as you might define a trip to wherever. But we did do vacations beside that, but we just longed to be down here. That was like highlights sometimes of the vacation we did do.
Yeah, to be down here.
And down here too, the country is beautiful. The area is beautiful. It's we take advantage of the weekend while we're here, and we go to we went to Shepherd's Trail. We do different parks.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful destination.
It is gorgeous down here. It really is. And a lot of times we take that for granted being from here.
Absolutely.
But I've been to a lot of different places in the country and abroad. And what we have here is absolutely gorgeous. And we're getting ready to go into fall, which is maybe my favorite time in Appalachia. It really is absolutely gorgeous. Well, Mike and Judy, again, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us today. It's been a pleasure of ours, just knowing that we were going to get to sit down with you guys. I was looking forward to that. I really was. I'm like, we get to sit down with Mike and Judy. This is going to be great.
Well, thank you for having us. We enjoyed being a part of this.
Have you been on a podcast before?
No, this is our first time.
Bucket list down.
There you go.
It wasn't the bucket list. I'll put it on my bucket list and then I'll check.
Got it. It
We're
wasn't on there.
waiting for the royalties to come in.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well then. We got to sign some stuff first. So, no, guys. Again, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate more than you know, and I know a lot of people have thanked you, but I cannot reiterate that enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we want to thank you for letting us share our story a little bit too.
Absolutely. And if you're listening and you're interested in being part of Outdoor in the Future or volunteering at Camp Nathaniel in any form or fashion, then find us on Facebook, log on to campnathaniel.org, get more information there, contact our offices. We would love to talk to you about coming here and serving. Would we not?
Most definitely.
Yes, indeed. Guys, stick around. We're going to get talking about some overnights coming up here pretty soon, I think.
Coming up soon.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Welcome back, listeners. We are getting ready to talk about some ministries happening here at Camp Nathaniel. We've got some weekend events coming up. So
it's that time of year again, isn't it?
It is that time of year. We're getting into the cooler weather. The leaves are starting to change color.
Which means?
Eastern Kentucky turns into this wonderland of colors. Oh, wait, yeah. Oh, also, weekend overnights.
You know what, man? I'm just along for the ride at this point. I can't wait to see where this goes.
So we've got a guest in here with us today, Miss Grace.
Hello.
It's Grace McIntyre.
Grace McIntyre, guys.
That's my full name, yeah.
She's no stranger to the Voice of Camp Nathaniel podcast. You know, she's been on here. Actually, aside from you and I think she might be on here the most.
Oh, really?
I think you are.
I've come a few times.
And so I'm fairly confident in that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have that in front of me. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty confident in that.
Seems like a good guess.
Yeah, for sure. But she's going to talk to us about our weekend overnights coming up here in just a really just a few days. If we, this show's going out on October 1st. So
Yeah, so they'll be right around the corner then.
yeah, fill us in, Grace. What we got going on?
Yeah, so our weekend overnight events, they're a really great opportunity for kids to come and check out Camp Nathaniel. If you've never been before, this is the time to come. It's a Friday evening into Saturday. Starts at Friday at 6, ends at Saturday at 2. So not a lot of time, but you'll get to see what camp is all about, get to see the different things that we do, and try out our famous Camp Nathaniel food.
I wonder how many, and I don't know this. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me because this is how we do a podcast, Lee. We don't come with information. I wonder, and I don't expect anybody to have an answer for this, but maybe it's just something we can chat about for a second. How many kids would you think probably get their first exposure to Camp Nathaniel as a result of a weekend overnight?
I would say probably a lot. As we've seen kids coming through since I've been here, at least, I would guess that for the overnights, maybe 40% of kids are coming for the first time.
See, I trust her on those numbers way more than I trust myself.
And that's a guess, so I don't have the numbers either.
No, I would say you're probably right because I would expect that a lot of kids are a whole lot quicker to jump on the opportunity to come. Okay, I'll just come for a night to check it out.
Right.
And then the hope is that maybe they'll fall in love with this place to the point where they'll be like, man, I could spend a whole week here during the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it only costs $10. So it's really easy to come. It's
$10.
inexpensive for a great weekend.
For the record, you can't get a value meal at a fast food restaurant for $10 anymore.
It's true. It's
Just throwing that out
sad,
there.
but true, yes.
Just throwing that out there. And so you get to come for $10. Now we've got different age groups that can get involved here. And in fact, that's actually changed up slightly because we're kind of combining what people might expect from different counties. So how about we
Right.
explain that a little bit?
Yes. So we will have one event in the fall for 4th and 5th graders, and then one for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. The 4th and 5th grade overnight will be October 20th and 21st. And the 6th, 7th, 8th grade will be November 3rd and 4th. So instead of splitting up some of those counties this year, we're doing them all together, hoping
All
for a
counties.
packed out night. Yep.
Awesome. Good deal. So we talked about we got some good food that they can expect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can they
Always.
expect?
Generally, when I talk about it, it's usually a matter of you take everything that Camp Nathaniel normally does during like summer camp, and you do your absolute best to cram all of that into like less than a 24-hour period.
Right.
Oh,
Yep.
it's a minute by minute overnight is
Yes.
what it is.
Yep.
It's a great opportunity, like Grace has already said, like Lee mentioned just a second ago. If you want to get kind of a general idea, a pretty good overview of what to expect during the summer at Camp Nathaniel, then you definitely want to check out these overnights, man. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
Yep, we do some fun games. Sometimes games we play at camp. Sometimes we'll add in some new games. You've got the counselors that you come and see at camp. Some of them will be here for those as well. All that good stuff you love about camp, you'll have for the overnights.
Now, do they have to register for this?
Yes, they do. So our registration is online. If you go to our Camp Nathaniel website, there's an overnight page that will have a separate registration for 4th and 5th grade and for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It's very easy.
CampNathaniel.org. So if you have not logged on there yet, that's and if you're listening to the voice of Camp Nathaniel, you'll probably know the spelling, but just in case, Camp Nathaniel, Nathanael. That's the biblical spelling as far as Camp Nathaniel is concerned. And yeah, log on there, get registered so that you can be part of our overnights coming up here in just a matter of weeks, man. It's going to be diddly-tastic.
That's a fun word there.
Is it? I don't know.
That is a fun word there.
That just kind of rolled off the tongue a little bit there, didn't it?
So throwing it out as well. I know our overnights, especially as word gets out and more people find out about them, camp only has so many spots that we can stick so many people.
That's right.
That's
so
true.
register sooner. Don't wait if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, we need to do it. As soon as you get where you're going, or if you're at home listening to this, then go on and hop on the website and get registered because it'll fill up fast.
That's right. Yep.
And the other thing, hey, if you are following Camp Nathaniel on Facebook, on social media, make sure if you are not following us that you are, because that'll show up on your feed. You'll know as soon as we start promoting it. We run social media campaigns all the time about events that we got coming up, so you are going to see one in regards to this. So again, Camp Nathaniel, fall weekend overnights, Friday to Saturday, and divided up between 4th and 5th graders and our 6th through 8th graders, correct?
That's right. And we do provide transportation for some counties for
Awesome.
this. So if you live in Harlan or Knox counties or Letcher or Leslie, we will have transportation provided for you. So you'll find that out when you register online.
Good deal. And give us the dates for those again, just in case.
Yes. So 4th and 5th grade is October 20th and 21st, and 6th through 8th grade is November 3rd and 4th.
Awesome. Lee, how much does it cost them?
It's going to cost them $10.
$10. $10. Do you know a toy at a large retail store is probably going to cost you 20?
Things that we can't say because copyrights.
Thanks for reading into that. Yeah.
You know, if the listeners weren't picking up, sometimes we're only allowed to say certain things on podcast things without proper notification of large companies that might have lots of money.
Right. Yeah. No endorsement or anything like
Yeah.
that going on here. So let's be perfectly clear of that. But listen, $10 and your child can come and experience so much that Camp Nathaniel has to offer, so that in turn, hopefully, they may be like at the end of that overnight, hey, let me have some lessons, and let's get these lessons going so that I can spend a free week during the summer at Camp Nathaniel.
Lots of fun there.
$10 to
Yep.
come to an overnight
Yep.
to learn how you can spend an entire week for free here at Camp Nathaniel during the summer.
Which sounds pretty awesome.
That is a pretty good deal.
Yes, it is.
All right, just saying.
So if you've never been before, obviously we want to encourage you to come and try it out. And if you have been before and, you know, summer's forever away.
It is.
You don't have to wait. You can come back for a weekend.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, Grace, thanks so much for hanging out with us and giving us the info, all the rundown on our weekend overnights. Once again, if they want to register, how do they go about doing that?
They'll go to our Camp Nathaniel website, to our overnight page, and they'll click on their age group registration.
All right, awesome. Lee, it's been good.
Yeah.
Grace, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, are we out?
I think we're out. So we'll talk to everybody again here in a couple weeks. I'd say we'll see you soon, but we're not actually going to see you. You can listen to us soon.
We had a conversation before coming on here. This is officially our 17th show since we started doing it in this format, and we still talk to people like we're looking at them in the face. So, we'll learn eventually.
One day we'll learn how to do a real podcast.
Yeah, we will. Guys, thanks so much for joining us for the Voice of Camp Nathaniel. We'll see you back here in a couple of weeks.